Hello everyone, and welcome back to Anime Octopus. Today, we're diving into another thought-provoking what-if scenario. What if Naruko Uzumaki was chosen by the night? Part 2. This continuation will explore deeper twists and possibilities in Naruko's journey, reshaping how her destiny could unfold in ways you may not have imagined. Disclaimer: the content on this channel is purely for entertainment and discussion purposes. I do not own any of the anime footage used. All rights and credits belong to their respective creators and copyright holders. Now, let's get started. Naruko sighed for what felt like the 100th time as she popped her neck while reviewing some lesson plans for her class. It hadn't been more than 2 hours since her lunch break ended, yet she could already sense the restless energy of Rias, Sona, and Akeno from where she sat. They were becoming slightly impatient, which she could understand. After all, they often accompanied her on visits to the underworld to meet Surzek, Serafal, Ajika, or Falbium, and she still had questions regarding the entire 5 Great Satans concept that Surzek had introduced. Truthfully, adding more Satans was possible, provided the others agreed. And one didn't necessarily have to be a devil to be a Satan. From Naruko's understanding, the old Lucifer valued strength and ability above all else, caring little for origin or status. Power was the defining measure of influence, and even the mightiest could be challenged by another equally strong contender in a test of skill. The victor would either claim a seat of authority or allow the other to retain theirs. Naruko bore no resentment toward the devils. While some factions had flaws, more than legends suggested, it was simply the nature of things. Perfection was an illusion, she believed, and striving for simplicity in life was often wiser than chasing an unattainable ideal. Even the vampire princess destined to become a transcendent vampire and leader of all vampires must remain humble, Kurama teased, only to receive a gentle smack from Matatabi and Chome. Even as a transcendent vampire, Kurama, Naruko replied thoughtfully, I will not be invincible. There will always be challenges beyond my current abilities. If I am to protect our family and all those I hold dear, I must continue to train diligently. Even deities and titans face defeat, and that is a reminder that growth is endless. That's right, Naruko, Gyuki agreed warmly. Our training strengthens us not just for ourselves but for those we cherish. The Baiju nodded in unison, 1,000 years of rigorous practice evident in their prowess. Shukaku through Kurama had all trained in human forms as well, enhancing their techniques and combat versatility. Shukaku mastered the halberd, combining it with sand manipulation to create formidable mid to long-range attacks, her bojutsu refined and precise. Matatabi had developed gauntlets of blue flame that amplified her agility and power, making her a force to be reckoned with. Isabu favored a defensive approach, relying on armor and fists to withstand and counter attacks, while Son Goku specialized in staff combat and immense physical strength. Kokuo, with her speed and blade-enhanced arms, was an agile powerhouse. Seiken served as the group's healer and strategist, combining medical expertise with precise techniques to immobilize or neutralize threats efficiently. Chome specialized in precise strikes, targeting pressure points and leveraging rapid flight to her advantage. Gyuki and Son Goku were the muscle of the team, capable of channeling their elemental affinities into overwhelming force. Kurama excelled with dual swords, channeling wind and fire for devastating strikes while relying on agility and precision. Together, when the Baiju and Naruko joined forces, their combined abilities were beyond formidable, capable of feats that no single adversary could easily withstand. Naruko's thoughts drifted to the past. I wish some of our Witcher allies had survived the war, she reflected. Geralt, Saskia, Triss, Yennefer, Ciri. Everyone. In the end, only Saskia and I survived. The war, known as the last stand of the Witchers, united every Witcher school to prevent a catastrophic threat. Naruko survived, carrying the memories and lessons of those lost, and though she hadn't seen Saskia since, she held the hope that her friend endured somewhere. It was a challenging time, Naruko, Seiken said softly. You all knew the risks, yet you fought with courage and heart. Remember them, honor their efforts, and keep moving forward. Naruko embodied the spirit of a true shinobi, enduring hardship without losing her optimism, strength, or warmth. Her unwavering smile and compassionate nature were qualities that drew others to her, and her presence inspired loyalty and respect across races, even among vampires, who typically valued pure bloodlines above all else. Naruko's accomplishments and character had earned her recognition and cautious admiration from noble vampires, including Akasha Bloodriver, who invited her to join her house. Naruko had politely declined, continuing her journey independently, leaving an impression of remarkable strength and integrity. So, Shukaku said with a calm, measured tone, what will our next training session focus on? Most likely, Naruko aimed to maximize her jutsu and magical abilities. She preferred using less effort for greater output, allowing her to conserve chakra while utilizing her powers to their fullest potential. Today, she planned to attempt summoning her wings without entering her vampire state, and also work on controlling her emerging psionic abilities. Though she wished for a teacher to guide her, she resolved to practice on her own. Naruko remembered the first time she and the Baijuu noticed her telekinetic ability. On that day, she accidentally smacked herself in the face with a frying pan while trying to grab an object. All the Baijuu, except her closest companions, laughed heartily at her lack of control. Objects either shot too quickly toward her or were sent flying at incredible speeds, roughly 11,418 miles per hour, according to her quick calculations. I am certain that with patience and practice, you will master all your abilities, Koi. Soon, you will be able to fully control your psionic powers, Chome said, her voice gentle and encouraging. Naruko smiled, grateful for her support. Hey Koi, do you think we should start preparing the forms you created? Matatabi asked casually, drawing the attention of her siblings. Over centuries, Naruko had studied nearly every magical discipline, including ninchu. Using her yin-yang release, Uzumaki lineage, her own cellular structure, medical chakra, and several other advanced techniques, she had learned to construct a body capable of sustaining the Baijuu safely. 5 years ago, she had successfully created the first Baijuu body after countless experiments and careful preparation. Though she felt cautious about the safety of the Baijuu, they trusted her expertise completely. These bodies were designed with longevity in mind, incorporating Naruko's immortal traits and her exceptional healing abilities. Much of her Uzumaki DNA was included, allowing the Baijuu to be safely transferred. Once successfully transferred, the new bodies would automatically adapt to the Baijuu's energy, ensuring seamless synchronization. While Naruko's vampire traits were present in the bodies, the Baijuu would not inherit vampirism, which was unusual but did not concern her as long as her experiments succeeded. Her ultimate goal was to bring her family to a tangible form so that they would always be protected and could never be misused for their abilities. I suppose that will work, but you will all need chakra locks until you have full control of your energy. It shouldn't take long, as the bodies will naturally adjust to fit each of you perfectly, Naruko considered. She intended to call them blanks because each body contained only the essential components for survival, and creating a fully functional form from scratch required extraordinary effort. Sounds good. When should we begin, Naruko? Isabu asked lazily. This coming weekend. I'll send a reinforced cage bunshine to assist, so I can oversee each transfer safely. My immortality allows me to supervise without concern, Naruko replied as a bell rang in the distance. The Baijuu smiled at her explanation, pleased by her reassurance. Later, as the final periods of the day approached, Naruko reflected on how much children had changed over the years. Why are kids less interested in cooking these days? I remember when Siri would insist on a bowl of ramen. Rias and Sona always enjoyed my sweet bread, and my cinnamon rolls drew Surzek and others running to the kitchen. Gabriel loved the cake dumplings I made, and Michael enjoyed the maple smoked salmon with salad. Azazel was fond of medium rare steak seasoned with herbs. What should I prepare for dinner tonight? Her thoughts were interrupted by the sound of 3 pairs of running feet approaching her classroom. Time to see how much you've improved, Naruko said with a playful smile as she gathered her things and vanished in a flash of golden light. Naruko's home. Naruko arrived at her modest yet comfortable home. It featured a spacious kitchen, living room, master bedroom, indoor onsen, and a study where she kept her books on magical creatures and her research notes. Her kitchen was modern, complete with an island for preparing meals. The living room included a futon couch, a 70-inch HD plasma TV, various gaming systems, and a smooth stone fireplace, creating a cozy atmosphere. The indoor onsen had heating capabilities and offered a stunning view of the night sky through one-way windows, allowing Naruko to relax in privacy. Her bedroom was simple yet elegant, with a queen-sized bed adorned in crimson silk sheets, 2 nightstands, and a walk-in closet for her clothing. The study contained weapons, books, armor, and gear collected over centuries, with trusted relics like Eclipse and Narzel resting until needed. An underground training field also existed, equipped for sparring and other advanced exercises. Naruko sat on her futon and placed her phone on a modified chest she had acquired centuries ago during a mission. While she had stopped countless threats in her time, this chest had been gifted to her by survivors of a raid she once helped resolve. She closed her eyes, meditating and waiting for a call, or for Rias and the others to arrive at her door. It would be some time before any faction reached out to her. Unknown location. It's been quite some time since I last saw her, a woman remarked as she stepped off the plane. Please wait for me a little longer. We have so much to discuss. Naruko, she added, walking gracefully away. Underworld. I miss Naruko ni, a red-haired Mao murmured thoughtfully while organizing paperwork. This Mao was none other than Surzek Lucifer, one of the 5 great Mao entrusted with overseeing the entire underworld and its inhabitants. Surzek often thought of her elder sister figure, Naruko Uzumaki, who had guided him in swordplay, alchemy, tracking, and various skills that enriched his everyday life. During the civil conflict among the devils, the anti-Old Satan faction struggled against overwhelming odds, until Naruko intervened. With her remarkable speed and exceptional swordsmanship, she turned the tide of the struggle, working alongside Sarafal, Ajika, Surzek, and Falbium to lead strategic campaigns that brought hope to their world. Thanks to her efforts, the new leadership began gaining victories, and Surzek remained eternally grateful for Naruko's presence. Perhaps I should invite her over for dinner. Mother would be delighted to see her, and father as well. It would also give Sochi-kun a wonderful chance to meet his elder sister, Surzek thought. Unlike most Mao, whose duties were rigidly defined, Naruko's responsibilities primarily involved her career as a witcher and maintaining order among any rogue devils. Her freedom, paired with her exceptional strength, considered among the top in the world, made her presence both reassuring and inspiring to Surzek. "Eh?" a maid suddenly exclaimed. Surzek looked up to see her phone pressed to her ear, eyes wide with surprise. "What do you mean Naruko-sama is in Kuo and teaching at Kuo High?" she shouted, her voice echoing through the hall. Surzek's jaw dropped in astonishment. Naruko, his admired elder sister figure, was in the same city as his dear friend Rias-tan. He marveled silently, how does she move so gracefully without anyone noticing? Even with her renown for extraordinary strength, it was her stealth and precision that made her truly remarkable, a testament to the intense training she had undergone under witchers and a ninja master. Naruko's home. Naruko paused thoughtfully, a questioning expression on her face. "I have a feeling I'll be receiving a lot of calls soon," she mused, raising an eyebrow before returning to her cooking. She prepared smoked salmon, creamy mashed potatoes with homemade gravy, and slow-cooked green beans with onions. A couple of hours had passed since she left Kuo Academy, and she had intentionally left a subtle trail for those looking for her. Her chakra, which she had not hidden for some time, served as a guide for anyone attentive enough to find her. After checking her kitchen, Naruko moved to her study and opened a book on sirens. Her quill hovered over a blank page as she began to write. Sirens and lamias have evolved over time. Previously, they relied on certain instincts to survive, but now their interactions with humans or other beings are more cooperative and less dangerous. Modern sirens and lamias possess incredible strength, capable of feats far beyond ordinary mortals, yet they primarily focus on coexistence and mutual growth rather than conflict. I have observed that some sirens can produce remarkable vocal harmonies that influence their environment in extraordinary ways. While these abilities remain powerful, they are now more refined and balanced. Similarly, other species, such as harpies, have evolved to appear more human-like, blending elegance and strength. These transformations do not cause concern but rather spark curiosity, inviting further study. As living beings evolve, it is fascinating to witness how appearances and abilities adapt. Creatures once considered unusual or fearsome can now resemble noble or refined figures. The reasons behind these changes remain a mystery, but the potential for understanding and cooperation among species is promising. Naruko set down her quill and smiled thoughtfully. The world was ever-changing, and she remained eager to explore its mysteries while maintaining harmony among its inhabitants. Naruko finished her notes on sirens and lamias. They were both part of an all-female race that required partners from other species to continue their lineage. Regardless of the father's identity, the child would inherit the traits of the mother, either as a siren or a lamia. It was an intriguing subject, but, thankfully, lamias and sirens were becoming less of a concern over time. Rising from her desk, Naruko walked to the kitchen, retrieved her meal, and began eating with a deliberate focus. She knew the others would be arriving soon. If not, she thought with a small smile, at least she had prepared one excellent salmon. After finishing, she summoned a cage bunshine to clean the kitchen and wash the dishes, then went to her study, phone in hand. Naruko intended to assess how much Rias, Akeno, and Sona had grown in their abilities. She prepared herself with her combat gear, just as she had when training Surzek, aiming to identify areas for improvement. She donned black cargo pants, reinforced leather boots reminiscent of elite hunters, a thermal black shirt layered over mesh armor, and her Kyr Morhen armor, reminiscent of her monster hunting days with Geralt. Around her neck, she wore her wolf amulet and Hokage necklace, both visible as symbols of her experience. Fingerless gloves, protective bracers, and her hair tied into a half-high ponytail completed her ensemble, the remainder flowing down to her shoulder blades. Her swords, Narzel and Eclipse, were secured on her back, alongside various supplies she might need for unforeseen journeys. Naruko was often called away for missions, so preparation was essential. Her phone rang. "Hello, this is Naruko Uzumaki. Who am I speaking with?" she said, casually inspecting one of her swords, a gift from Ares after a fair duel, an encounter she remembered fondly. "Aniki," a cheerful male voice shouted. Naruko blinked. Only two people in her world addressed her that way, Surzek Lucifer, her cherished brother figure, or Michael, the archangel she occasionally partnered with on missions. From the tone, it had to be Surzek. "Ah, Atoto, it's wonderful to hear from you," Naruko said with a soft smile. "You're so mean, Aniki. Why didn't you tell me you were in Kuo?" Surzek complained playfully. The sound of rushing wind suggested he was moving quickly, but Naruko ignored it. "Sorry, Atoto. You know I don't stay in one place for long. How is the kingdom?" she asked, settling onto her couch, senses alert for any sign of Rias or Sona. "The kingdom is well. Everyone misses you, Aniki. Mom and Dad hope to see you soon." "Oh, and I made you an uncle," Surzek said brightly, thinking of his child. Ara? My little brother has a child?" Naruko asked with gentle surprise, pleased for him. "Sadly, no partner remains. The person I wished to share my life with passed during the birth of little Milikas," Surzek admitted softly. Despite the challenges, Surzek had been raising his child with love and care, balancing his duties as ruler while making time for his son whenever possible. Naruko frowned slightly, wishing to lift her brother's spirits. "Tell you what. How about you, Milikas, and I spend a fun day at an amusement park?" she suggested warmly. Surzek's voice brightened. "That sounds wonderful, Aniki, but as Mao, I'm busy. I barely have time to read Milikas a bedtime story, which is our special moment together." Naruko summoned a cage bunshine, her trademark technique for creating lifelike duplicates that could act independently, a skill Surzek often admired and envied for its versatility. "Cheater," Surzek teased. "Ninja," Naruko replied with a grin. "Touché," Surzek laughed. "All right, Aniki. Tomorrow at 10, we'll pick up Milikas and meet at Lucifer Castle." "Got it, Atoto." "Can't wait," Naruko said warmly, ending the call. She then left home, ready to meet Rias, Akeno, and Sona, who were likely nearby but hidden by their magic. Using her extraordinary speed, Naruko appeared in a clearing half a mile from home. "Should I test them at Chunin or Jounin level?" she murmured to herself. She settled on a high Chunin challenge, enough to gauge their abilities without drawing unnecessary attention. A bolt of lightning streaked past her, and Naruko easily sidestepped it, noting the user's lack of control. Turning her attention to the three girls, she studied them carefully. Rias Gremory, a spellcaster with intelligence and grace, dangerous in the field when focused. Akeno Haimjima, a hybrid of fallen angel and devil, combining speed, strength, and magic, still honing her considerable talents. Sona Citri, a strategic mind, excellent with magic and planning, relying more on intellect than brute force. "These girls have grown a lot, but there's still room for improvement," Naruko observed. Their magical powers were impressive, approaching the level of high-ranking beings, yet she knew their true potential was far greater. "It's been a while, Rias-chan, Akeno-chan, Sona-chan. You've all grown beautifully, and your strength has increased," she said calmly. Rias blushed at the compliment, while the others managed to hide it better. "Hi, Uzumaki-sama," Sona replied, trying to maintain composure. "Uzumaki-sama? What happened to Naruko-chan?" Naruko tilted her head, curious. Rias and Akeno typically used more familiar titles to show their closeness. Rias composed herself, speaking with the elegance befitting her noble upbringing. "We heard from our families that you are the fifth Mao and rightfully hold a noble house in the underworld," Rias said, her tone slightly hesitant, aware that the person she greatly admired was, in fact, the new fifth Mao. Though the laws didn't forbid the current Mao from appointing another, Naruko's status as a devil or not was irrelevant. Her strength and rightful place among the Satans had already been proven. Naruko rolled her eyes, a gesture the girls quickly noticed. "Being the fifth Mao doesn't mean I neglect helping others I care about. Michael of Heaven granted me the title of Paladin so I could access their resources and collaborate with him. The title, though honorary, doesn't make me any more special than anyone else, Naruko explained with a casual shrug. Over the years, she had accumulated numerous titles, many bestowed by friends or groups she collaborated with. Among the devils, she held the title of Ma'o, the angels called her paladin, and the fallen angels recognized her as commander. These titles didn't grant her privileges beyond access to each faction and the loyalty of those who chose to support her. With the devils, Surzek and others sought to protect her from potential threats and rival factions. Unlike some who wished to exploit her abilities for their own gain, these devils valued her strength and her connections with the other Ma'o. Among the angels, the title of paladin symbolized a close friendship with Michael. Though Naruko could not fully join the church, she aided the Seraphs as an ally, occasionally handling difficult tasks the church could not. This earned her the nickname Dark Paladin, reflecting her willingness to do what others could not. As commander of the fallen angels, Naruko had her own squad of loyal angels who followed her guidance. While they performed missions for Azazel, they regarded her as their true leader. She intended to meet them soon, as part of her efforts to track down a rogue scientist who sought to misuse her father's relics and powers. Naruko had inherited her father's legendary artifacts, such as the Chaos Claws, Void Sword, and unique techniques, and she was determined to safeguard them from those with selfish intentions. Even maintaining her vampire abilities required careful restraint around powerful vampire leaders, including Akasha Bloodriver, the No-Life Queen Morgan, and others. A single mistake could draw unnecessary attention, and Naruko's mastery of Fuinjutsu allowed her to conceal her heritage while navigating a world full of powerful beings. Not surprised? Sona asked, her eyes narrowing. Outside the upper echelons of the Devil faction, very few knew Naruko's true status. Yet her reaction suggested she might have expected this revelation. I've lived over 1,000 years. It takes something truly unexpected to catch me off guard, Sona-chan, Naruko replied with a calm shrug. Her network of informants spanned humans and supernatural alike, providing her with insights most could only dream of. Unexpected how? Rias asked curiously. I'm expecting Naruko's child, Akeno said, her smile bright and serene, eyes closed in happiness. The thought of starting a family brought her joy, and she had longed to revive the Haimjima clan. Naruko, Sona, and Rias all exchanged glances. Sona's gaze was sharp, protective, and tinged with a quiet possessiveness, as she had long held a deep affection for Naruko. Though she had kept her feelings private, her heart belonged to her alone, shaped by years of admiration and trust. Akeno, we agreed to share Naruko, starting from the night we marry, Sona said, her tone steady, a mix of determination and gentle warning. Rias silently nodded, respecting the agreement forged long ago. Naruko blinked, a small bead of sweat forming. So, they're serious about this arrangement, she thought, slightly overwhelmed by the situation. Being part of a family of complex traditions and supernatural relationships had made her accustomed to unusual circumstances, yet the nuances of love and loyalty still left her thoughtful. Kurama's voice echoed in her mind with a playful nudge. Face it, Naruko. Looks like you'll need to honor their wishes. The other spirits of her Baijuu companions chuckled softly at her momentary confusion, while Naruko sighed, drawing her silver blade, Eclipse, which hummed faintly with celestial energy. The girls tensed slightly, sensing the quiet power it radiated. Eclipse was a gift to me from the Greek gods Poseidon, Hephaestus, Hades, and finally the primordial Erebus. It's the only sword ever forged with celestial silver, making it one of a kind, and only I can wield it, Naruko said fondly as the four of them admired the sword, which shimmered with both light and shadow. Examining the blade, Eclipse was a versatile 1.5-handed sword, allowing Naruko to use it comfortably with either one hand or both. The celestial silver blade was etched with a deep central groove. Its hilt featured solid metal fittings, an oversized guard, and a pommel at the end. The handle was wrapped in dark midnight blue leather, giving it an elegant yet formidable appearance. Ancient runes were engraved on the guard, pulsating with a faint magical glow. The sword's craftsmanship was impeccable, combining superior materials, enchanted metals, and runes to create a masterpiece of both artistry and power. While many supernatural creatures had been subdued by this blade, its true magnificence lay in the sword itself, a work of art worthy of admiration. Tell me, could the three of you challenge me while I wield Eclipse? Naruko asked earnestly. The girl stiffened slightly, knowing the blade's legendary reputation. Eclipse, the sword of light and dark, was renowned for its ability to counter and redirect magic. It could even perform a number of subtle tasks with remarkable precision, though mastering it required skill beyond most. However, the sword had strict requirements. Only someone proficient in both light and darkness magic, and able to blend them seamlessly, could wield it safely. Devils could not handle it without harm, and angels could not hold it without losing their balance in the heavens. Naruko, of course, was uniquely capable. Sensei, we might be in serious trouble if we tried to face that sword, Sona admitted cautiously. She knew she couldn't match Naruko alone. Perhaps with teamwork alongside Akeno and Rias, they might have a chance, but on their own? That would be unwise. Yes, it is a powerful weapon, Naruko agreed calmly, returning Eclipse to its sheath. But I asked if you could face it yourselves. Most likely not. Probably not. We're not ready. All three girls admitted the truth. Facing Naruko with Eclipse was beyond their current ability. Naruko smiled internally, then nodded in approval. You all recognize your limits, Naruko said, assuming a stance her father once taught her. Sometimes, the wisest approach in a challenge is to observe, retreat, plan, and then try again with preparation. Strategy is often more powerful than raw strength. The girls readied themselves, though nerves tinged their movements, knowing a serious sparring session awaited. After an intense one-sided spar. You've all improved, Naruko said cheerfully as Sona, Akeno, and Rias took a moment to recover. Though the girls looked worn from exertion, Naruko remained composed, a testament to her training and skill. You were incredible, Rias admitted, impressed by Naruko's precision and speed. Sona and Akeno shared the same sentiment, recognizing the vast difference in experience, skill, and control. This was why Naruko was celebrated as the fifth Mao, one of the strongest beings in existence. I played fairly, Naruko explained with a calm smile. If I had restricted your opportunities, you wouldn't have been able to test your limits at all. Rias, focus on refining your speed and strength. That applies to all of you. Relying solely on magic isn't enough, sometimes you need to mix tactics and surprise your opponent. Learning to adapt is crucial. Naruko reflected on the lessons she had taught the others during past conflicts, ensuring they would be prepared for any future challenges. Sona struggled to her feet and looked Naruko in the eye. Where should we start, Naruko-sama? She asked, eager to learn and improve. Rias and Akeno nodded in agreement. Don't worry about that for now. I will train all of you, along with your peers. Rest for the moment and wait for my summons, Naruko instructed. With a tap on the ground, the girls were transported to the ORC to prepare for further training. Naruko spun gracefully on her heel and vanished in a burst of speed, heading home. After all, she had a day to spend with her younger siblings and nephew, a well-deserved break from training and teaching. Next day, with Naruko. Naruko calmly walked toward Lucifier's castle, located in Lilith, the capital of the underworld for devils. Whispers and murmurs filled the air as she approached. It seemed her reputation had preceded her, her skill and grace on the battlefield were still talked about, even in the underworld. Passing the guards, she noticed how stiff they became in her presence. Her aura had grown noticeably stronger since they last saw her. She gave a small nod to a maid, who curtsied deeply, her words slightly trembling with respect. Greeting, Uzumaki-sama. How may I assist you today? The maid asked politely. I'm here to find Surzek. Is she in her office, or resting? Naruko asked softly. She's in her office, working on a peace accord between the devils and the Greeks, the maid replied, straightening up and struggling to hide a faint blush. The Greeks, huh? It's been a while since I last spoke to Poseidon. Perhaps I can help, Naruko said, vanishing in a swift wind Shinshin technique. She reappeared quietly beside Surzek, hidden in the shadows. Through the room, she could hear Zeus making complex demands for the peace treaty. The communication was being conducted via an iris message, similar to the one Percy, Annabeth, and Grover had once used with Chiron. To Naruko's right sat Sarafal, the Mao responsible for foreign affairs, listening intently. Nearby, Percy, Annabeth, and Grover were engaged in a chess game with Chiron, though Grover and Chiron seemed far more invested than the others. Ares gazed off into the distance, lost in thought, while Aphrodite, the goddess of love, idly tended to her appearance with a bored expression. Hades and Poseidon, meanwhile, were straining to pay attention as their younger sibling debated treaty terms with Surzek. Apollo and Hermes played cards quietly, and Artemis appeared tense, keeping herself in check. Hestia and Hera whispered about Naruko, unaware that she could read their lips. Naruko raised an eyebrow at their envy over Rhea securing a date with her. Really? All they had to do was ask. I'm not that difficult to approach, she thought. Observing the room, Naruko noted how many gods and goddesses had found harmony and happiness after past conflicts. The situation seemed to be improving, yet she knew that Zeus relied heavily on Hera to maintain balance. The debate over the treaty continued for several more minutes, with Naruko calmly evaluating the offers. Then, a shift in the room occurred. Her warm, kind, and gentle amethyst eyes darkened, transforming into deep crimson with feline-like pupils. Her features subtly sharpened, and her golden hair gleamed lighter in the dim light. The change was unmistakable, and a quiet intensity filled the room. Everyone froze, sensing a powerful aura emanating from her. Poseidon and Hades straightened immediately. Percy felt his heart race, Annabeth shivered, Chiron tensed, and Hera felt completely exposed. Apollo and Hermes instinctively drew closer to each other. Surzek recognized the aura instantly, it belonged to Naruko. Greetings, Zeus, Surzek, Seraphol, Hera, Poseidon, Hades, and everyone present, Naruko's voice rang out, calm yet commanding. All eyes turned toward her, the strongest Dhampir, Naruko Uzumaki. Her crimson eyes softened after a moment, returning to their warm amethyst hue. The aura dissipated, leaving her looking as serene and composed as ever. I hope I am not interrupting anything important, Naruko said, her tone gentle. I simply wish to observe how the affairs of my younger sibling are progressing. It seems there is much discussion happening, and even a child can seem very grown-up when passionate about their work. Zeus opened his mouth to respond, but the calm, authoritative presence of Naruko made him pause. He could feel the weight of her power and wisdom. Her calm, composed demeanor conveyed both strength and reassurance, leaving the room in silent awe. Naruko's eyes returned to their warm, loving amethyst glow, and she smiled lightly. The intensity had passed, replaced with her natural, approachable charm. Naruko Uzumaki Dracul, Profile. Name, Naruko Uzumaki Dracul. Age, 1017, appears 18 to 20 race, Shinso Dhampir, ascending into a transcendent being rank/titles, Mao, Master Witcher, Sage, Kage, and Sanin. Threat level, SSS, highly powerful, avoid unnecessary conflict. Skills. Ninjutsu, Taijutsu, Genjutsu, Shinjutsu, Bojutsu, Kenjutsu, Bukiitsu, Fuinjutsu, Iryo Ninjutsu, Dojutsu, Kinjutsu, hand signs. Magic, runes, alchemy, and advanced combat techniques. Weapons. Void Sword, Chaos Claws, Narzel, Steel Blade, Eclipse, Silver Sword, Sand Gourd, Chakra Blades, Fuma Shuriken. Kekkei Genkai. Rinnegan, Rin Sharingan, Sharingan, EMS, Byakugan. Mukuten, Hyotan, Futten, Yotan, Rantan, Jinten, Bakuten, Sheikuten, Jitten, Shotten, Kotan. Jinten, Swift Release, Sunaton. Elemental releases. Fire, Water, Wind, Earth, Lightning, Gravity, Yin, Yang, Yin-Yang. Special traits. Sensory perception, emotion detection, energy absorption, time-space manipulation, unknown abilities. Clan, Uzumaki. Affiliations, Witcher School of the Wolf, 5th Great Mao, and various other distinguished organizations. Dear YouTube family. This is all for now. If you enjoyed the content, please like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. Your support keeps the adventure going. Regards. Anime Octopus.